Breaking news Tuesday, July 14th, authorities in Mississippi have now spoken out regarding the passing of Nolan Wells. All of this information comes from the Jackson County Sheriff himself during an interview on Good Morning America. He said his office is continuing to gather evidence and investigate, all while awaiting the autopsy and toxicology results. Saying, quote, "I think it's important we don't put ourselves on a timetable, that we don't rush ourselves. But I do think it's important to be diligent in gathering all the facts. That's what the family deserves." Authorities also stated they are still seeking unedited pictures and videos from that day. The vice president of the Cajun Navy also made a statement. He said, quote, "My understanding is that even though there are pictures of the boys drinking beer and stuff, Nolan's blood alcohol level was not an intoxicated level." With that, authorities say there is still no official cause of death for Nolan. However, as you may recall, they did previously state they believe Nolan passed away due to drowning. As you may recall, Nolan was last seen on July 4th around 3 p.m. on Hord Island off the coast of Mississippi. He arrived there with a group of friends on a boat. However, he told those individuals he was going home with another group of boaters. However, his friend still had his cell phone and keys. Nolan was found deceased 2 days later on the northwest side of the island in the water. Nolan's family has had Nolan flown to D.C. for a private autopsy. At this time, those results are still unknown.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You have tuned into another episode of Ron's Coverage. And today, I want to react to this narrative pertaining to the death of Nolan Wells, whose body was found on Hord Island off the coast of Mississippi, an island which is a popular tourist destination for the people in the local communities of Mississippi. It's been reports that Nolan was on a boat with 3 of his white friends when they arrived to the island, and that they had a little dispute. In the footage online that depicts a lot of yelling, arguing, and commotion, with someone screaming, "Give me that phone, give me my phone, give me my phone."
Ben Crump says that it is Nolan in the video, and that you can hear him arguing with his friends, and what he is saying to his friends is, "Give me back my freaking phone, and what are you freaking doing?" And then they leave on the boat without him, and he ends up dead.
When Nolan's friend, Javon Williams, was on TMZ in an interview, he says that the camera footage depicting the argument or hearing the argument from afar was not Nolan. That it didn't really sound like Nolan because it was too far away, but it was clear enough for him to acknowledge that it was not Nolan.
But is that Nolan in the video?
I can't tell. It's too far away. But in that video, I feel like the voices are too clear. Like from the side, it's too clear for it to be that far away, for it to be Nolan arguing. And then also that altercation, it sounds just like my other friend that got into the altercation on the boat. And they were trying to, like, as he was in that altercation, I was calming him down. They were trying to get him out off the island. They were trying to get him back to land because he was just losing it.
It must have been someone else that Javon Williams arrived on the boat with, which was a separate boat than the one Nolan has arrived on.
Trayston Shepard, who is a close friend of Nolan's that was on Horn Island that day as well, he spoke to Rolling Stone, and he said on the record, "That's my voice, that's not Nolan's," and his actual exact words are quoted, "Those were not Nolan's words, they were mine." So he says the video captured a completely different argument between him and another person. Nolan wasn't even visible in the recording. He says Nolan was off in the water elsewhere.
That's the part that defense attorney Benjamin Crump is emphasizing. They're emphasizing that someone yelling, "Give me my phone," and the fact that Nolan has left his phone on the boat while he was on the island.
The phone is one of the very weird things that, like, you know, his mom, both of his parents were like, he wouldn't have let them leave without his phone. If you're just getting off the boat and swimming up to shore and hanging out on shore for a little bit, yeah, we're going to all leave our phones on the boat.
Well, there's a large body of water between the boat and the island, so that's probably why he left it on. He don't want to drop his phone or lose any of his accessories that he may need. But anyway, when Nolan was on the island, he ran into a couple of his friends, which is Javon Williams. Not to mention, Javon Williams also left his phone on Nolan's boat as well. So I guess when they met up and they saw each other on the island, that's when Javon wanted to hang out with Nolan. I guess he went on the boat and he left his phone on the boat, on Nolan's boat as well. But not only have Nolan ran into Javon, but he also ran into some other friends as well while he was on the island. And he also met a girl that he was speaking to when he was on the island. And she said that he was going back to the boat. But, however, Nolan's friends that he arrived with said that he wanted to stay on the island and come back the next day with another group of friends. That's the contention between the two stories, between the girl saying that Nolan was going back in the boat and his three white friends saying that he wanted to stay behind. That's what Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton is putting emphasis on, and that his body was found on the island.
On TV Road.
A lived experience for many Black Americans that oftentimes when our children are killed in highly questionable situations, that there is this notion that, oh, it was nothing wrong, no foul play, let's just sweep it under the rug. Well, we refuse to sweep it under the rug. We refuse to just let Nolan Wells' death be in vain. We're going to make sure that we get to the truth, the whole truth.
So some people are saying, Reverend, are y'all bringing in race?
Yes.
Well, we're not bringing in race, but we're not discounting race either, because we don't know what it is. So to tell us don't rush to judgment saying it was racist is fine. But then I'm telling you, don't rush to judgment saying it was not racism.
But, however, after the friends that Nolan arrived with, a friend named Warren called his mother, Nolan's mother, and said that he didn't come back with us. One of the mothers of the friend posted on social media that Nolan stayed behind. I guess that's the suspicious part, where that all the pro-blacks and the influencers, Benjamin Crump is also emphasizing too, to make it a racialized story and make the story about a racial lynching, something that it may not be. So everyone is making speculations and jumping to conclusions when all the evidence and the autopsy did not come out yet. Even though the police, the authorities, the local authorities in Mississippi ruled that it was no homicide, that was not a murder. It was just an accidental death of Nolan drowning in the water that led to his body being found on Hord's Island. As much information that I stated in this video is inconclusive. There's still no hardcore evidence that it was any foul play or any lynching, which is the result that Benjamin Crump, Al Sharpton, and many of the pro-blacks on social media are looking for. Could it be some foul play? Yes. However, the independent autopsy that Benjamin Crump is called for has not delivered the results yet, and the police reports stating that there was no foul play. Warren also reported Nolan missing to the Coast Guard. So how could it be some foul play in a lynching if Warren, one of his friends, reported him missing on July 4th when Nolan missing? And the last time they saw Nolan was at 3 p.m. That was the last time Javon also seen Nolan too, was at 3 p.m. And the boys that Nolan came with left on the boat at 4:30 p.m. All this information is inconclusive. Nothing points to it being a lynching. Warren called Nolan's mom, the friend of Nolan, called Nolan's mom saying that he didn't come back with them. And Warren's mom even released a statement saying that nobody wanted to leave the island, and also corroborates that story saying that Nolan wanted to stay. But that's all I have for y'all for today. Until more information is brought forth. You like this video, hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Now I'll keep y'all updated as more information is brought forth that will hopefully lead to a conclusion. I'll catch you on my next video. Peace.